A special installment of Vick Law News. And we're focusing on, well, a really vital question, one that maybe doesn't get asked enough. It's this. If something happened to you tomorrow, would your wife, especially if she's a stay-at-home spouse, truly have what she needs to, keep the lights on, stay in the home, protect the kids?
Yeah, it's a critical question, and not one about fear, really, but about being prepared. So today, our mission is to unpack why stay-at-home spouses can be uniquely vulnerable financially, and more importantly, what concrete steps you can actually take together to safeguard her future. Think of this as like sitting down with a good friend, someone who could help you navigate this important planning.
Okay, let's start there, because it's a surprising reality for many, isn't it? This idea that a stay-at-home spouse faces significant financial risks if the primary if something happens to them, it just doesn't always register.
It really doesn't. But the vulnerability is quite specific. First off, there's no independent paycheck coming in. That means no personal retirement account being built up in her name, typically. And often, no Social Security credits accumulating for her either. That's a big gap down the road. Then you'd be surprised how often her name might not be on major financial accounts or even the house title.
Really? So that could block access entirely.
Absolutely. Block access to needed funds right when they're needed most. And there's the knowledge piece. Does she know where all the important documents are? The insurance policies, the passwords? Her whole financial world, often including health insurance, it just hinges completely on her spouse's income and job.
Wow.
And legally, this is key, without the right documents, she might actually be unable to make decisions, financial or medical, or access funds during an emergency.
Okay, and let's be clear, this isn't about pointing fingers or saying someone did something wrong.
Not at all.
It's just understanding a reality that thankfully can be planned for
Yes.
proactively. So, okay, let's unpack this planning. What does it actually mean to plan around this vulnerability?
Right. And the encouraging part is it doesn't necessarily require massive wealth. It just takes intention, purposeful steps. We can start with some immediate protective measures anyone can put in place.
Okay, immediate steps. Let's talk life insurance first. If your wife depends on your income, getting the right life insurance seems foundational, doesn't it? To cover that lost income, the mortgage, childcare maybe, just to give her some breathing room.
It's absolutely crucial for that breathing room. It buys time. Time to grieve, time to figure things out without immediate financial panic. A good policy covers those big immediate needs you mentioned, mortgage, bills, kids' expenses.
Yeah.
But here's something often missed, how that life insurance is set up.
How's set up?
Yeah, just naming your spouse directly as the beneficiary, while simple, might not be the most protective route.
Oh, interesting. I always thought direct beneficiary was the standard, the easiest way. What's the alternative?
It is simple, yeah. But sometimes simple leaves gaps. Often, a better approach is using something called an irrevocable life insurance trust, or ILIT.
ILIT. Okay, sounds a bit complex.
It sounds more complex than it is in practice. The power is this. The life insurance payout goes directly into this trust. That means it bypasses probate court completely. No delays there.
Ah, okay.
And it's protected. Protected from creditors, maybe future lawsuits, things like that.
Got it.
And crucially, think about your spouse. If she isn't used to managing large sums of money, the ILIT allows a trustee, someone you choose and trust, to manage those funds responsibly. They can make sure the money goes where it's intended. Mortgage, education, maybe providing a steady income instead of just a large, potentially overwhelming lump sum.
That makes a lot of sense. Structured support, not just a check.
All right.
Okay, so moving from insurance, let's talk foundational legal documents. Wills and trusts is where it gets really interesting, right?
Absolutely fundamental. A will is essential, especially for naming guardians for minor children and saying who inherits what. But a revocable living trust, that adds another layer of immediate security. It holds your assets while you're alive, but the key is if you pass away, those assets inside the trust, they remain accessible. They don't get tied up in probate court.
Avoiding probate. That sounds huge, especially for someone maybe not used to finances.
It's monumental.
Yeah.
Think about it. Grieving, stressed, and then having to deal with court processes just to access bank accounts or stay in your own home. A trust, especially if the house is titled in the trust's name, helps avoid all that red tape. In Indiana, probate can take time. This allows the surviving spouse to continue living in the home, access funds all managed by a trusted person, the successor trustee, without needing court permission.
So continuity and immediate access, that covers death. But what about, say, a serious illness, an accident where you're incapacitated? How does this planning help with quick action then?
Yeah, great point. That's where powers of attorney are just non-negotiable. You need a durable power of attorney for finances. This lets your spouse step in, access bank accounts, pay bills, manage investments if you suddenly can't.
Okay.
And equally important is a healthcare power of attorney, usually paired with a hypo release form. This lets her talk to your doctors, understand your condition, and make medical decisions based on your wishes if you're unable to speak for yourself.
And without these?
Without them, she can literally be locked out, financially locked out of accounts needed to pay for your care, and medically locked out from even getting updates from the hospital. It's a nightmare scenario and totally preventable.
Wow. Okay, so those cover immediate access.
Yeah.
Are there other, maybe more long-term provisions we can build into these structures beyond just basic accounts?
Yes, definitely. For instance, some couples might explore things called spousal lifetime access trusts, or SLATs. These are a bit more advanced ways to move assets out of your taxable estate for tax planning, but still allow your spouse access to the funds if needed. And it's vital to check survivor benefits on any retirement accounts or pensions, make sure they're set up correctly to provide for her. Your main trust document can also include clear instructions on how assets should be used long-term for her care, for kids' education, whatever your family goals are.
Right. And for families with younger kids, guardianship always comes up. It feels like such a heavy topic.
It is heavy, but so important. The core message is, make the choice yourself.
Yeah.
If you have minor children, you absolutely need to name guardians in your will. This ensures the people you trust raise your kids, not someone chosen by a court. And it's smart to consider a standby guardian designation, too. That provides someone who can step in immediately, temporarily, if needed, before the permanent guardians can take over.
Okay. Now, shifting gears slightly to something really practical, almost simple, but maybe overlooked.
Ah, yes, the household playbook.
The playbook.
Yeah, think of it like a family crisis manual. Just a simple binder or secure digital file. It gathers all the crucial info in one place. Account numbers, logins, passwords, insurance policy details, contact info for your lawyer, financial advisor, accountant, plus maybe a basic what to do if checklist for different emergencies.
Okay.
Sounds basic, right? But imagine your spouse, overwhelmed, grieving, stressed. Having that playbook, that roadmap, it provides incredible clarity and peace of mind. It tells her exactly where to start. It's like a practical security blanket.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so we've covered immediate crises, the what-ifs for tomorrow. Now let's shift the focus a bit. Let's think about the long game. You imagine growing old together, retirement years. But statistically, one spouse often outlives the other, and frequently it's the husband who passes first. What's fascinating here is really thinking about the long-term impact this has on a spouse who is primarily stay-at-home.
Exactly. This brings up a really profound question. If your wife outlives you by, say, 10, 15, 20 years, will she genuinely have enough? Enough for her own comfort? Enough for unexpected health issues down the line? Enough for a reliable income? And maybe the biggest one, is there a plan for her potential long-term care needs?
Because that dedication, being a stay-at-home parent, managing the household, even after kids are grown, it has these lasting financial consequences, doesn't it? Way into her own retirement years.
It really does. The long-term effects are significant. Little or no Social Security credits built up in her own name because there's no paid employment generating those credits.
Right.
Probably no personal retirement accounts or pensions in her name unless you specifically plan for that together. Then there's the potential loss of health insurance coverage if she was on your plan through work. That's a huge expense to suddenly take on. And the big one, long-term care costs. We know that in Indiana, nursing home care can easily top $90,000 a year. It can wipe out savings fast. So without deliberate, forward-thinking planning, the woman who spent her life caring for everyone else, she might find herself without the resources needed for her own care later on. It's a silent risk we need to address today.
So, faced with that long-term picture, what can be done? How do you ensure her financial security and well-being decades down the road?
Well, the absolute first step, maybe the most crucial, that's getting on the same page. Radical transparency, joint planning. This isn't something the primary earner just decides alone. You have to sit down together. Talk about your vision, what matters to both of you. Make sure she knows where things are, how they work, who the key contacts are.
Communication is key.
Absolutely. Second, if you have that revocable living trust we talked about, make sure it's funded. That means assets like the house or investment accounts are actually titled in the trust's name. Otherwise, it doesn't do much good. And make sure you've named backup trustees who can manage things if needed later.
Okay, funded trust, backup trustees, what else?
Third, seriously consider Medicaid and long-term care planning. because those nursing home costs are no joke. Discussing strategies early, understanding Indiana's 5-year look-back period for asset protection with Medicaid planning, that's critical. The earlier you plan, the more options you have to protect your life savings.
That 5-year look back is important to know about.
Very important. And finally, circle back to those retirement accounts and pensions. Double-check that all survivor benefits and spousal protection options are properly selected and structured to provide for her long after you're gone.
So if we tie this all together, it really comes down to making sure the person who helped build your life, cared for your family, isn't left dealing with a financial or legal nightmare later on. It feels like a fundamental part of truly providing for your family. An act of love, really.
It absolutely is. And, the reassuring thing is, putting this kind of comprehensive plan together, it's not some years-long ordeal. Often it can be completed in just a few weeks with the right guidance.
That's right. It's manageable. And this is where an experienced estate planning practice like Vick Law, PC, right here in Greenwood, becomes such a valuable partner. They don't just hand you forms. They really sit down, listen to your family's situation, your goals, and help you craft a plan that fits you. They guide you through all of it, the wills, the trusts, the right life insurance setup, asset protection, guardianship, those crucial powers of attorney, planning for long-term care, securing survivor benefits. And importantly, they make sure your wife understands the plan, knows where everything is, and how to use it if that day ever comes.
Exactly. Because loving someone well, truly caring for them, it means planning for the what-ifs. Planning for a time you might not be there, but ensuring your protection and provision continue on. You've worked so hard to provide, to build something.
So if this conversation, this deep dive, has sparked something for you, maybe given you that nudge you needed, don't wait. Schedule a planning session with Vick Law today. They're local, right here in Greenwood, and they're dedicated to helping families like yours put these protections in place.
You've worked hard to provide, so the question